Greetings, family. Good afternoon. Welcome again to another Bible Studies Live with Israel, the Lord's Vineyard. My name is Brother Moses. We have Sister Kelly. We teach the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, the undiluted Word of God, Jesus Christ being the chief cornerstone. Well, we're back with another Bible Studies today, but this one is kind of special. Well, as we know, February starts the Black History Month. So we're going to be teaching a four-part series in the month of February, but we're going to start today, being that we keep the Sabbath. So this one, the title is Black History Part 1, Genealogy. But this is Black History according to the Bible. Black History according to the Bible, Part 1, Genealogy. But as usual, what we're going to do, we're going to open up with the laws, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to get into the lesson. Sis, whenever you're ready, I am ready.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 20, starting at verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Revelation 22, verses 14 and 15. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter into the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth, and maketh a lie. Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Alrighty, family. Welcome again. Welcome. Happy Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. This is Black History according to the Bible, Part 1, Genealogy. First of all, we're going to use the Fair Use Act. Fair Use Act, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for the purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research purposes, family. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. This is a quote from Marcus Garvey. And that is so true, family. We're honoring the past and inspiring the future. This Black History lesson that we're going to do today, as I said, we're going to do a 4-part series. And the first part of it, what we're doing today is genealogy. We're just going to run down the genealogy from on the other side, on this side of the flood, right? So we're not starting from Adam. We're starting on this side of the flood. So Noah forward. So Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So we see the colorations, and this is according to history and researches. We see like the coloration of the 3 sons of Ham, the people that they produced. We got Shem, is a melanated man. He's part of Asia Minor, just like we have Abraham that came from Asia Minor. Then we have Ham, is the African nation, and then we got Japheth, which is actually the Gentiles, the European nation. And we're going to get scriptures to co-sign this throughout the lessons. All right, family? So we're going to start with the son of Noah, which is Japheth. And we're going to do some reading. So what we're going to do, we're going to start in the book of Genesis. What we try and establish, these 3 sons of Noah on this side of the flood, they were the progenitors of all who we see today. Out of these 3 sons is how the world was populated after the flood. Right? So, Genesis chapter 10, we're going to read from verse 1 to verse 5. Now, again, we're going to go through each one of the sons of Noah. We're going to talk about the prominent people here, all right? Genesis 10 and verse 1, when you're ready, sis, I am ready. What you want to read? You want to read the NLT? You want to read the KJV? What you want to read?
I'm going to start out Genesis 10, 1 to 5, and I'm doing that in the NLT. This is the account of the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the 3 sons of Noah. Many children were born to them after the great flood. The descendants of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Rephath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. Their descendants became the seafaring peoples that spread out to various lands, each identified by its own language, clan, and national identity.
So we see, we're going to go, I'm going to read something from the KJV, family, and I want you all to follow me, please. So in Genesis chapter 10 and verse 5, it said, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land, everyone after his tongue, after their family in their nations. So the family of Japheth, they are European, and they are called the Gentiles. So I want you to keep this in mind. In some instances in the Bible, the Gentiles are also referred to as nations, family, right? But the three sons of Noah, the Hamites they were referred to as Hamite or Hamitic people, right? Somehow the Japhites, which are the descendants from Japhet, they were called the Gentiles. And the people that came out of Shem was called the Semitic people or the Shemites, right? These are three distinct people group, I should say. So the children of Japheth, God gave them the territory where they will inhabit, and God said, these are the Gentiles. So where did God send these Japhetic people or these Gentiles? He sent them up into Europe. Why? Because that's where the land agree with these people. So we're going to see, and we're going to talk about these same Gentiles that is inhabiting Jerusalem today. And if you do some history, some research, you see that skin cancer is very prominent around and in this nation, these people that lives there. Why is that, family? Because they are living in a territory or a place that does not agree with them. That's why God sent them up into Europe, a colder place, colder climate where they can live. And it's very ironic. If you are the people of that land, then the climate should agree with you because that's where you're from. But because you're not from there, that's why there is problem. Right? So the sister just named out the children of Japhet, the descendants. We have Gog and Magog, which is present day, the Persian, which is Iran, Persian and Iran. So it's Russia and Iran. Then the Medes is part of Russia. Tubal is part of Russia also. The Slav, they're the Slav people or the Slavic people. Germanic, Russia, Turkey, and they are also referred to as the Khazars. And these are the same people who they call the Khazarian people, the Khazars. And these are the same people today which are called the Zionist movement. Who did they come from? They came from Japhet, one of the sons of Noah. This is Japhet's descendants, right? We're going to keep reading. So the scientist reveals Jewish history's forgotten Turkish roots, the independence of the independent. So this is a picture of the people who are calling themselves the people of the land, the Ish people. And we're going to see that these people are actually not the people of the land. All about Ashkenazi Jews and the genealogical research. My Lord, why this thing is twisting my tongue? Say so we said a word, genealogical.
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 Yeah.
Genealogical. There you go. Genealogical research. So the Ashkenazi, can you read the bottom there? Can you see it?
No.
Okay. Ashkenazi or Ashkenazic Jews are the largest identifiable Jewish culture whose ancestry goes back to Eastern Europe. Where, family? Eastern Europe, not in Jerusalem, right? What they call the Middle East. They go back to Eastern Europe. Although local churches were required by law to keep records of the general population, local Jewish congregation created their own records and kept them in their own custody. Many of these records are being gathered into the Knowles collection at Family Search. Genealogy, oh, Jesus Christ, there go the word again. On the Ashkenazi Jews is aided by understanding their migration path, record keeping system, language, and tradition developed over time. So these people are of European descent. They're not the original people or native people of Jerusalem or present day Israel, right? They are Europeans family. Can you see this?
Okay.
So one thing I want to reiterate again. So these Ashkenazi Jews family, let me show you something. Remember the sister read in Genesis chapter 10, right? Genesis chapter 10, let me show you something. In verse 1, it said, the sons of Japhet, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshesh, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz. So you notice that these people are referred to as Ashkenazi Jews, right? So where did they come from? Their progenitor is Ashkenaz. But then we have some of the Jewish people who will come on the YouTube channel and they will claim that they're not from Ashkenaz, but this is an outright lie. They're actually lying, right? They don't want to admit that they come from Ashkenaz, which is from Japhet. Why? Because remember, they're trying to perpetrate someone that they're not. They're trying to have people to believe that they are the true people of the land, the ancient Israelite, when they actually are not. They are from the descent of Japhet family. They're Japhetic people. They are actually referred to as Gentiles, not the Jews. So they are descend from Ashkenaz, which is one of Gomer's son, Ashkenaz. And Ashkenaz is one of Japhet's sons. So they could not be Semitic people. They are not from the descendants of Shem. Let's read this, family. You can see it says,
Tracing the matrilineal line, the research shows the origins of the matrilineal line for the Ashkenazi Jews comes from Europe. This
they
goes
come from
against
they come from where? They come from where, sis?
Europe.
They come from Europe, not Jerusalem, not Israel. They're European, they're of European descent, right? And who are these people? The Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenaz is one of Japhet's descendant, not Shem. Go ahead.
This goes against the common belief that Jewish people first arrived in Central Europe after the Byzantine Sasanian War of 602 to 628 and only began settling in Germany in the medieval period. Ashkenazi Jews is the term used today to describe these Jewish people, individuals who built religiously based communities centuries later in Central and Eastern Europe. One of the things they are recognized for is the use of Yiddish, a High German language written in the Hebrew alphabet and influenced by classical Hebrew and Aramaic.
So Yiddish, actually, family, is not Hebrew. Yiddish is not Hebrew. That's a different language. Yiddish is a offspring or broken off of the Germanic language. It is not Hebrew. All right. So I've heard many of them, they will claim to be the people of the land because listen what they will say. Well, you can tell that we are the people of the land because we did not lose our heritage, we did not lose our language, but that will be kind of chaotic. I'm going to tell you why. If according to the Bible, family, listen carefully. If according to the Bible, that the Israelites were scattered among all nations into captivity, meaning slavery, right? How in the world would they be able to keep their original language from that time? Because remember, they were all the children that been born while they were in slavery were born in captivity. So what's going to happen after a period of time? According to the Bible, they will lose their heritage. They will lose their God. They will lose their identity. They will lose their language, family. So it's no way that they could have held their language being born children after children in captivity. Eventually, it will be watered down, right? So by this saying that we kept our language, we kept our custom, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. The reason why they're speaking this Yiddish language is because that's where they're from, is a broke off of Germany, where they're actually from. They are European. They are not of the so-called Middle East. They're not the native people of Jerusalem, or present-day Israel. They could not have kept their language if they've been born over and over and over into captivity or slavery. That been beat out of them. And that's why the people, the so-called Negroes of today and the West Indian, that's why we don't know who we are. Because our people is the one that went into captivity or into slavery. And of course, what happened? Being bred children after children after children in captivity, of course we're going to lose our God. Of course we're going to lose our heritage. Of course we're going to lose our language. That's what happened to people that is go into perpetual captivity. That's what happens to them. Go ahead, sis.
The 2013 study co-author, the Yiddish calligraphic segment in the Worms Mazar, or public domain. In the 2013 study co-author Martin Richards, an geneticist at the University of Huddersfield in England, said that while Ashkenazi Jews have lived in Europe for many centuries, the results of the study using DNA samples show that most European Jews descend from local people who converted to Judaism, not individuals who left Israel and the Middle East around 2,000 years ago.
So these people did not leave the Middle East, or what we call Israel, 2,000 years ago. These people were European, and they converted to the Jewish religion or Judaism. Judaism don't even have nothing to do with the true Israelites. It don't even have nothing to do with the true Israelites. So, of course, if you're perpetuating or trying to be of a people group, you're going to study their language, you're going to study their heritage, you're going to study their genealogy. So because remember, you're trying to be someone that you're not. And that's the first actual case of identity theft. That's the first case of identity theft. These people stole the identity of a whole nation of people. And now they're running around with the identity that does not belong to them. And as soon as someone speak out, you know what they call them? They call them anti-Semitic. But number one, we the so-called African American, because the reason why I keep using the word so-called, because that's what they call us. But we are not African American. That's what they call us. So the so-called African American, when they speak out anything against them, they claim that we are anti-Semitic. But family, you cannot be anti-Semitic if you are Semitic. That is nonsense. It is nonsensical to even utter that or say that. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to hush the people so they don't, the rest of the world don't know. But now we in 2026, by now, the majority of the world know that the people was calling themselves the Ish people, they are not the people of the land. Things cannot stay hidden forever. And not only that, everything is orchestrated by the Most High God. Everything is orchestrated by Him. And this was supposed to only stay a secret or hidden for a series of time. Now it is time that Israel is waking up and coming back to the roots, finding out who they are and where they are from and what their purpose is. So now we have internet, we have all these different platforms, we have the media, so nothing can stay hidden anymore. These people are really, really trying hard to be the people of the land. And they know to themselves, maybe not the children that is being born now, but the people, the adults, the ancestors, the great grands or whatever they call them, they know that they're not the people of that land. They went into that land in 1948. That's the first time they've been into that land. They went into that land in 1948 and claimed that the Jews are back. But how can you be back to somewhere that you were never at the first place? You were never there at the first place. So how can you go back there? They're not the original people of the land. So let's go to Genesis chapter 9, and we're going to read verse 24 to verse 27, and we're going to see something, family. Genesis chapter 9, and we're going to read 24 to 27. When you're ready, sis, go ahead.
When Noah woke up from his stupor, he learned what Ham, his youngest son, had done. Then he cursed Canaan, the son of Ham. May Canaan be cursed. May he be the lowest of servants to his relatives. Then Noah said, May the Lord, the God of Shem, be blessed, and may Canaan be his servant. May God expand the territory of Japheth. May Japheth share the prosperity of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant.
So this is what we're going to do. Let's go and we're going to start reading from the KJV, because I don't like how the NLT is reading with these things. If anything, we can switch back and forth. So in verse 27, it said, in the KJV, it says, God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So we know that Japheth is going to dwell in the tents of Shem. Where is Shem tents? Shem home is the same place that these people are warring over. Why are these people warring over this piece of land? And the two nations that is warring over this piece of land, the land belongs to neither one of them. Both of them are imposters. So we have Japheth, Because remember, family, Ashkenaz, the Ashkenazi Jews are the descendants of Ashkenaz, and Ashkenaz is the descendant of Japhet. Listen again, family. The Ashkenazi Jews is the descendants of Japhet, which one of Japhet's son Gomer has a son named Ashkenaz, and that's where they're from. And they are referred to as Gentiles. So we have Genesis chapter 9. It says that Japhet, which is Ashkenaz, will dwell in the tents of Shem. And that's who is in Shem's home. The Ashkenazi Jews that came from Japhet. That's who is in their home. The Bible even tells you that Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles until Christ returns. So now, how can they be trodden down by the Gentiles until Christ return if they're supposed to be the people of the land, which is the Jewish people? It can't be. So remember, we just read that the children of Japhet is referred to as the Gentiles. And if the Bible tells you that Jerusalem is going to be trodden down or ruled by the Gentiles until Christ return, then who is in the land? Answer that, family. Who is in the land? The Gentiles. Because they have to be in there, because this is prophetic. This is a prophetic reading that the Gentiles is going to be there until Christ's return. They are going to be the one treading down or running the land or ruling the land. And that's what we have today. We have the Ashkenazi Jews, who is the Gentiles that came from the lineage of Japhet. So God shall enlarge Japhet, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So who is living in the tents of Shem? Japhet, which are the Gentiles, family. They are not Semitic people. Let's see something, family. Guess what the main boulevard in Tel Aviv? What is the name of the main boulevard in Tel Aviv? You can read this. Can you see this? Oh, come on.
You haven't opened it yet.
Hold on there. Hold on. Listen. 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 Okay.
You want me to read from the top?
From the Rothschilds Boulevard, Tel Aviv, right here.
Okay, Rothschild Boulevard, Tel Aviv. Rothschild Boulevard is one of the most important and iconic streets in Tel Aviv. Located in the heart of the white city of Tel Aviv, Rothschild Boulevard is a commercial center. It has major financial institutions lining the street, a cultural center, with the main theater and concert hall of Tel Aviv, a culinary center with tons of top restaurants, and a leisure center. The walkway in the center of the boulevard is popular with dog walkers, bikers, and some of Tel Aviv's wealthiest and most beautiful who stop off at the amazing coffee kiosks found in the center of the street.
So, the history of the Rothschilds Boulevard. Go ahead.
Rothschild Boulevard was one of the first streets to rise in Tel Aviv over 100 years ago. The original name, Rehav Ham, means the street of the people. Its new name reflects the generosity of Baron Edmund James de Rothschild of the French Rothschild banking dynasty. Interestingly, it was not originally a boulevard. This was because draining the dry wadi, which ran along the middle, was too big a challenge. The street ran on either side, forming the first of a number of boulevards that can be found in the city. Overall, they characterize the city's image and architecture.
So why is one of the city, the boulevard in Tel Aviv called the Rothschilds Boulevard? Because these are the same Ashkenazi descendants of people that's living there. This have nothing to do with the ancient Israelites or the Semitic people, because the Rothschild, do remember, they are European descendants. They're from of Europe. They're not Semitic people. So if they're not Semitic people, how can somebody be anti-Semitic talking about them when they are not Semitic people? Who are the Semitic people? The so-called African American, the West Indian, the people them that was transported during the slave trade. Those are the Semitic people. Go ahead, sis.
Each side of the street is lined with beautiful Baha'is buildings. It's the iconic architecture of Tel Aviv that led to its recognizing as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. While ageless, many of these have undergone extensive restoration. They now house the offices of financial institutions, creative firms, restaurants, cafes, and luxury residences. Alongside these buildings sit some of the tallest skyscrapers in Tel Aviv, built more recently, mostly to house bank headquarters. They beautifully contrast with the traditional buildings of the street.
That's it. So again, family, why is the boulevard in Tel Aviv called the Rothschilds Boulevard? They're supposed to be the people of Israel's, the land of the people of Israel, from the 12 tribes of Israel. Why is Rothschild Boulevard inside of Tel Aviv? That's because the people of Israel or the children of Israel is not in Israel running anything. We have some brothers that went back there in, I think, in the 60s, the early 60s, from Chicago, a group of them. And you know what they do? They put them on the outside of the land, outskirts of the land, to live out there. But they are the true people of the land, but yet they're living on the outskirts of the land. Just like when Abraham first started, he was living on the outskirts of the land when the Canaanites was in there. They took over the land. They claimed the land to be their own, but that is okay. Why? Because it's prophetic. Because the prophecy is that the Gentiles are going to be running Jerusalem until Christ returns. Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. These are the times of the Gentiles. And it started with the fourth beast of the dream or the vision of Daniel, which is the Roman Empire. Those are the Gentiles also. So we're still under the fourth beast. Western Europe, Western America, this Western world, we're influenced by the Romans because we're still under the Roman rulership. So these people that are there, they are not the Semitic people. They are Gentiles. They are Gentiles, family. Let me show you something. Okay. Let's go now. Let me put it back. You see Deuteronomy?
Yes.
Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy 28. So I even hear some of those same people, those ish people who got their platforms on on YouTube and Twitter and them places. And they would tell you that Deuteronomy 28 don't have nothing to do with the melanated people or the Negroid or the African American. That also is a lie from the pit of hell. Family, they've been lying to us in these churches from the beginning of times. They've been lying to us from the beginning of times. Who is telling the story, the rabbit or the lion? The story or the narrative is usually told by the conqueror. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and we're going to see something. We're going to read verse 32. We're going to do some skipping. Good. We're going to read 32, then we're going to read 37, then we're going to read 41, and then 43 to 48, and 63 to 66. So Deuteronomy 28 and verse 32. When you get it, sis, I'm ready when you're ready.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
So this is Deuteronomy 28. It talks about the blessings and the curse. From verse 1 to verse 14, it tells you, if Israel do what thus says the Lord, keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, this is what's going to happen to them. God is going to put them on high. He's going to bless them. He's going to bless their children, and every work of their hand will prosper. From verse 15 to verse 68 tells you about the curse. If Israel go against God's commandments, do not keep his laws, do not keep his Sabbath, do not keep his statutes and judgment, then this is what's going to happen. Everything that is bad will befall them. They're going to be cursed and they will go into captivity and they will be scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So now we're in verse 32. Remember, this is part of the curse. From verse 15 to verse 66 is the curse. So verse 32 says, your sons and your daughters will be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands. Who did this happen to, family? This is the children of Israel that went into captivity, that the sons and the daughters was taken away and sold into slavery by other slave masters. This did not happen to the people who is saying that they are the people of the land. This did not happen to them. The only atrocities that these people can put their hand on is this so-called Holocaust. That's the only atrocity they can say that they've been through. But what happened to the rest of the Bible? What happened to all of the prophecies that is in the Bible? All of the captivities, all of the slaveries that is written in the scriptures? How come none of them don't match them? None of the prophecies in there match these people. None. So how can they be the people of the land when none of the prophecies in the Bible matches them? Whose sons and daughters went into slavery and were sold? That's the same so-called Negroes, West Indian, these people that came across here in the transatlantic slave ships. Our sons and daughters were sold into slavery. Verse 37.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
So what is a proverb and a byword? The same words that they put on us. Negroes, even this word that we just be using, African American, that's a proverb and a byword. Blacks, all of Negro, nigger, all of these words that they use against us, that's what God is, that's what the Bible is saying. We shall become a proverb and a byword among all the nations where God scatter us. Verse 41.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
Thou
All
shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity, into slavery. That's what happened to us, our people, the so-called Negroes. It did not happen to them. Not only that, these people, wherever they go, they migrated. They were not transported into by means of slavery. They migrated. Go ahead.
all thy
43.
trees and fruit of the land shall the locust consume. The
40,
stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
So listen this,
Moreover,
family. So Israel, we are reading here that they're going to be the borrowers, not the lenders. They're going to be at the bottom of every totem pole. They're going to be the tail and not the head. So now, look at the people that is in the world, family. All we have to do is follow the signs. All you have to do is follow the signs. If you follow the signs of the Bible, you can put your hand on the children of Israel. All you have to do is follow the signs. Are the Israelites above anyone? We are the bottom of every totem pole. Because that's what the prophecy that was prophesied against Israel if they break God's commandments. So now this is something. These people claim that they are the people of the land. They were the people of the land. And they claim that they were cast out. Now they're back in the land. Now, up in Tel Aviv, they have one of the biggest gay pride parade every year. One of the biggest in the world. So how can this be? If they are the people of the land and they went back in the land after exile, why are they keeping gay pride parade in the same land? Why are they doing that? How can you be the people of the land and doing this? That's because they're not the people of the land, family. Why isn't God extracting them out of there? Because remember, the prophecy is that the Gentiles are going to be trodden down or ruling or running Jerusalem until Christ returns. So that's why they're still there. Because there's no way, if Israel was in the land, I'm talking about the original Israelites was in the land, they will be able to be doing this and still stay in the land. No, that will not happen. They will be extracted from the land. Because throughout the whole Bible, throughout the whole Tanakh, the Psalms, the prophets, even the Gospels, every time Israel go against God, start breaking his commandments, what God does, he send a nation to take them into captivity out of the land. They can't stay there. So if these people were the people that said they returned in 1948, why are they having gay pride parade every year in this land? And they're still allowed to stay there. That can't happen if there was the true children of Israel. Why are these people prospering? Why are the other nations prospering and Israel, the true Israelite, are not prospering? This is the same thing that Jeremiah says. Why are these people that is not serving you prospering and we who are serving you are getting chastised and being trodden down? Is because God did not give the laws to them. He gave the laws to Israel. That's why Israel is the one being chastised, because they are the ones supposed to be sharing the gospel and showing the light to the rest of the world. That's why the rest of the world is prospering and not Israel. To whom much is given, much is required. Go ahead, sis.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
So all the curses will come upon us because we did not keep God's commandments. That's why we are in this situation. Go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not thy Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
So there you go, brothers and sisters. These curses will be upon us as a sign. So when you look and you see the people them that is being oppressed, downtrodden, on the bottom of every totem pole is the tail and not the head, then you can put your finger on Israel, because these curses are a sign to identify the children of Israel. So he said, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed, meaning your offspring, your children, forever. Forever, family. What does a sign do? A sign identifies. That's the purpose of a sign, to identify. When you see a stop sign, it means to stop. When you see the people that is trodden down on the bottom of every totem pole, you can put your hand on Israel. These are the people of the book. That's why the Bible tells you these curses will be upon us for a sign and for a wonder, and upon our children forever. Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
And who was the one with the yoke of iron on their neck? Who came across the transatlantic ocean? Who came in the bellies of ships? That's the so-called Negroes. the so-called African Americans, the West Indians. We are the one that came across those seas, family, with yokes of irons on our necks and on our feet. Did these people went into slavery like that? No, they did not. So how can they match the prophecies of the Bible? How can they match the curses of the Bible when this did not happen to them? Verse 63.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither ye goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So family, listen to this. Remember I told you that these people, when you go on YouTube, all you gotta do is go on YouTube and they will tell you, well, we never lost our heritage. We never lost our God. We never lost our language. What is the prophecy that this sister is reading? It says that we are going to be plucked from the land. These people migrated from where they came from Europe, into that land. They were not plucked from that land because they did not came from that land. It says, the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth, even unto the other. How are we going to get to the four corners of the earth, family? By means of slavery. Where did these people go in slavery? In the four corners of the earth. The only atrocities that these people can put their hand on and tell you is the so-called Holocaust. That's the only thing, only atrocity that they can tell you that they've been through. And all of this is fabricated. All of it is fabricated. Did they go on slave ship to be scattered in the four corners of the earth? Which slave ship? What's the name of the slave ship that they was in? As a matter of fact, family, I did a lesson in the past. When you do your research, you're going to see that these people actually own the slave ships that brought our people across those waters. They own most of the slave ships, and they were owners of slaves. So if they are the one that's supposed to go into slavery, get scattered to the four corners of the earth, how are they the one putting people in slavery? How does that work? How does that work? They're the ones supposed to be in the slave ships. They're not supposed to be the slave masters. They're not supposed to be the one owning the ships. They're supposed to be the cargo. But they were not the cargo, family. They were the owners of the cargo. They were the owners of the cargo. And who were the cargo? That was the Negroes, the so-called Negroes, the children of Shem, the descendants. That's the 12 tribes of Israel that came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob family. Jacob gave us the 12 tribes of Israel. Those 12 tribes of Israel went into slavery, captivity. Go ahead, sis.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt and fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
And we shall fear day and night and have none assurance of our lives. When we leave our house, we don't even know if we will come back home. Our police out there in the street putting their foot in your neck. We are the one who hung from trees, from bridges. We're the one that was hanging in trees, just like our Messiah. Just like our Messiah. They were never hung in trees. Which tree did they hang from? They were not transported in ships across the ocean. So they could not be, or they cannot be, the people of the book, family. They can't be the people of the book. They can't be the people of these curses because it does not fit them. It does not fit them. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 9, and we're going to read from verse 9 to verse 14.
Seeing the slides on the bottom.
Is better?
Oh,
Is better?
no.
Okay. Tell me when it's better. Oh, crap. Good now?
It's not sharing.
Okay. Okay. You got it?
All I see right now is Israel, the Lord's vineyard.
Okay, that's good. Daniel 9, and we're going to read from verse 9. You go down, sis?
Yeah.
Okay.
To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets.
So I want you all to listen to this, family. Please listen to the sister. It said, we did not obey the voice of our Lord to walk in his laws, which he set before us, his servants, and the prophets. Listen, go ahead.
Yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey the voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he had confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done, as hath been done upon Jerusalem.
So it says this curse that happened to us, the true Israelites of the land, it says this have not happened to any other nation under the heavens. And why did this happen? Because we refused to keep God's laws, keep his judgment. So what he did, he put an end to us. In 70 AD, that land went into captivity, and that was it. And Israel going to remain outside of Jerusalem until Christ the Messiah returns. All Israel had gone into captivity because we refuse to listen. And the scriptures, it teaches us that Israel will not return until Christ returns, because he is the one that's going to gather Israel. They're not going to go back there on their own. they will be gathered when Christ is coming. So now, how is these people in the land? Not only that, if you ask any one of them what tribe they're from, all of them tell you they're from Judah. So if they're back in the land, where is the other brothers? Where is the other tribes? If all of them are from Judah, where is the other 11 tribes? Why is they still living in New York City? Why aren't they back in the land? If they say that, this is a crazy mess. If they say that they're supposed to go back in the land from 1948, why is still some of them living in New York City and are in different states? Why haven't they gone back to the land? Go ahead, sis.
As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil has come upon us, yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Therefore hath the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obeyed not his voice.
For we obeyed not his voice. So all Israel got kicked out of the land. The last time that we were in our home is in the 70 AD when Jerusalem was burned down to the ground, and the inhabitants, some flee into Africa, and the rest was taken into captivity, went on the coast of Africa, the slave coast, put on slave ships, and was transported across the transatlantic ocean. These people were not put on ships, family. They was not transported by ship to the four corners of the earth. The so-called Negroes were. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. And we're going to read verse 6 to verse 20. When you're ready, I am ready.
And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan, and the sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, and Sapta, and Ramah, and Sapteca, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord.
So who was
And
Nimrod? Nimrod was a Hamite. He's an African. He was the descendants of who? Of Ham. And Nimrod was the one that was there. He was responsible for heading up the building of the Tower of Babel. You know, remember when they was building the Tower of Babel? Nimrod was there. And who is he? He is the descendant of Ham. Remember, we already read the genealogy of Shem, not Shem, Japhet. My bad, sorry. We already read the genealogy of Japhet. We saw that Ashkenaz is Gomer's son that came from Japhet, and we see that these people, the Ashkenazi Jews, we know that they are descendants of Ashkenaz, Gomer's son, which are the Gentiles. Now we're reading the Hamites, right? Go ahead.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Out of that land went forth Asher, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth and Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, the same is a great city.
So this
And
Nineveh that God sent Jonah to wake up the people, is Nimrod was responsible for building that city, Nineveh, right? You can skip down, to verse 16.
and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad.
So these were the people that were living in the land of Canaan, which is present day Israel. Remember when Abraham went there, he was living on the outskirts, and God told Abraham, you see this land? I'm going to give this land to your descendants. You and your descendants, right? So when Israel came out of Egypt, out of slavery, 400 years of slavery, out of Egypt, that's when God actually gave them the land, because he promised that land to Abraham and his seed, right? So he gave that land to the Jacob and the 12 tribes of Israel. So when they came out of Egypt, they went into the wilderness, and God separated them in the wilderness because he purged them. He took the children along with Joshua and Caleb into the new land. Who was living in that land? The children of Canaan, which is the Girgasite, the Havites, the Zemarites, the Abadite. All these 7 nations were living there, and God took that land from them and gave it to the 12 tribes of Israel. He took it from them. Why? Because of what they were doing in the land. They were burning their children to Baal. They were doing all kind of madness in the land. And God said, you know what? I'm going to take these people out of the land. I'm going to give the land to the descendants of Jacob. So now we have the descendants of Japhet over there in the land that he gave to the children of Jacob. And the children of Japhet and the children of Ishmael, which is the Palestinians, fighting over the land. They're warring over the land, and the land don't belong to neither one of them. So the both of them is fighting for a property that don't belong to neither one of them. This is madness. Go ahead, sis.
And the border of the Canaanites were from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations.
Because God gave everyone their plot of land where he want them to reside. And the children of Japhet, which are the Gentiles, which are the Europeans, he gave them Europe family. That's where they're from. The white people or the Gentile, they came from Europe. They're the Europeans. Why? Because that's the place that they will be able to live in, that climate, comfortable. So we just read the descendants of Ham. So let me give you Ham's 4 sons. Ham's 4 sons was Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. Cush, he is the father of the Ethiopians. Mizraim, his other son, was the father of the Egyptians. Phut was the father of the Libyans. And Canaan was the one that were living in Jerusalem, that had the 7 nations in there, right? From his 7 offsprings. They are the one that God took that land from, the Canaanites, to give it to Jacob and his descendants. So these were the 4 sons of Ham. And these are what? These people are the so-called Africans. They are the Africans. The children of Japhet were the Gentiles. So let's go and see the children of Shem. Let's go to Genesis chapter 11. And we're going to start reading from verse 10. Genesis chapter 11 and verse 10. So we gave you the children of Japhet, we gave you the children of Ham, and now let's see the children of Shem. Go ahead.
These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Selah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Selah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Selah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Selah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters.
And family, I want you to listen. I want you to listen carefully now, right? Go ahead.
And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
So hold on there. So now we get down to Terah. Terah is Abraham's father, right? And who this come from? This come from Shem. Remember, Ashkenaz is not a descendant of Shem. So now he's not a descendant of Abraham. He's a descendant of Japhet. Right? Different nation. So now in the Shem's genealogy, we find Terah, which is Abraham's father. Right? So Terah got Abraham, Nahor, and Haran, which is Abraham's two brothers. Right? Go ahead.
And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees.
Mm-hmm.
And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishkah. But Sarai was barren; she had no children. She had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
So why did Terah took Abraham his son and Lot his son-in-law, not his son-in-law, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and went to Canaan? Because God came to Abraham and he spoke to Abraham and tell Abraham, take your family and go to a place that I'm going to send you, which is the same land of Canaan. So that's why they left their land, Ur of the Chaldees, and went to Canaan. But they didn't. He said, you see that land? I'm going to give you and your descendants that land. When did the children of Israel actually got the land? When they came out of Egypt. That's when they fully got the land. But before that, Abraham was living on the outskirts of the land. Because remember, those 7 nations were living in the land. After they came out of Egypt, God told them, hey, you got to get these nations out of there in order for y'all to go in to inhabit the land. So who did Abraham come from? Abraham came from Shem. So Abraham is Semitic. Japhet is not Semitic. So the people who call themselves the Jews, they are not Semitic people. They're not Semitic people. They're Japhites. They came from Ashkenaz. So when they're saying that people are being anti-Semitic, you are not Semitic. So we cannot be anti-you because you're not Semitic. We are the Semitic people, the so-called Negroes. I'm going to show you something. This is a book, right? On there. I actually owns the book. This is y'all can see it here and it's on the screen. This is the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. Can you see this, sis? If you can see it, I mean, they can see it. This is the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary, right? It's on the screen. So we are looking for the word Ham, right? So read this, sis.
Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. His independency when his indecency when his father lay drunken brought a curse upon Canaan.
So Ham, remember family, Nimrod came from Ham. We had Ham that had the 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, which is Ethiopia. Cush is Ethiopia. Mizraim is Egypt. Then we have Put, which is Libya. And then we have Canaan, which is the original inhabitants of the present day Israel, right? So Ham, that's their father. And it says Ham is the youngest son of Noah, and he was one of the 8 persons to live through the flood, and he became the progenitor, meaning the father of the dark or the melanated or the black people, the black race. But listen what it says, not the Negroes. So he's the father of the African races, but not the Negroes. Why? Because the Negroes, their progenitor was Shem. They're the Shemites. They're the Semitic people. But Ham was the father of the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. But he was not the father of the Negroes, the so-called African Americans. And he's definitely not the father of Ashkenaz, the people who call themselves the people of the land. So who are the Semitic people? The so-called Negroes. They're the Semitic people. They're the one that came from the descendants of Shem. Abraham was a descendant of Shem, not Japhet. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12. Now we're going to read from verse 1 to verse 6. When you're ready, I am ready.
Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Then Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came, and Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, and to the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land.
The Canaanites was then in the land because they did not fully get the land until they came out of Egypt. So that's why the Canaanites was still in the land. God told Joshua and Caleb to rid the Canaanites out of the land before they go into the land. That is after they came out of Egypt. So we're seeing here, because we just read, when Terah took his family and left for the land of Canaan. So we're seeing right here in Genesis chapter 12, when Abraham said God told him to take his family and go to the land of Canaan. So he lived on the outskirts of the land until God fully gave his descendant the land when they came out of Egypt. Right? So we see again, family, that Abraham is the descendants of Shem. He's not the descendant of Japhet. The people who call themselves the Ish people, the Jewish people, they're the descendants of Japhet. So they could not be the people of the land. They are not the people of the land. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15. The thing is, these people don't believe in the New Testament. They despise the New Testament. Why? Because they don't believe in Christ. They don't believe in Jesus. You don't want to read what they have in the Talmud concerning Jesus and them. They said Jesus is boiling in a pot of hot excrement. So we're finding all of this that we're reading, not in the New Testament, we're finding it in the Torah, because they hold to the Torah. That's what they study, the Torah. So this is what we're reading all morning or all afternoon. Genesis 15, we're going to read verse 1, 8, and then 12 to 18. When you're ready, I am ready.
After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And he said, Lord, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I will inherit it?
Because God promised in the land, and he's saying, how do I know that I'm going to inherit the land? Go ahead.
And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
And which is this? This is talking about Egypt. He told Abraham, know of a surety that your seed is going to be in a land, and those people of the land will afflict them for 400 years. This is when they went into Egypt, family. They was in there for 430 years, but they were not in bondage for the 430. They were in bondage for the last 400 years. Go ahead.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance.
And that's
And
what happened. That's what happened. God judged Egypt. He brought 10 plagues in them. And not only then, he made the Egyptian to have favor with the Israelite and gave them gold, silver, food, animals, gave them everything that they need to come out. So God say, that nation I'm going to judge, and you're going to come out of there with great substance. Go ahead.
And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Unto your seed I'm going to give this land from the river of Egypt down past the great river Euphrates. So when the children of Israel then was coming out of Egypt, they were actually conquering lands to split up between the 12 tribes, even Jericho. Let's go into 16, chapter 16. We're going to read from 1 to 16. Genesis chapter 16. When you get it, I'm ready when you're ready.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, begat Hagar, her maid. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee.
So now that Sarah gave her husband Abraham, that Egyptian woman Hagar, now, because remember, the Bible said that Sarah couldn't conceive, or she didn't conceive, right? So when Sarah gave Abraham a handmaid so she can make children for her, then Hagar now start despising Sarah. So now problems start. So now Sarah gonna say, hey, you gotta get this woman out of here. And my wrong be upon me because I'm the one that gave that woman to my husband. Now she's pregnant. Now she got a child. No, I'm in her eyes, I'm like I'm nothing. What did I do? Go ahead.
But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself unto her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
So now, who is that the child that Abraham got with Hagar? That's Ishmael. That's supposed to be the so-called the descendant of the Palestinians, right? The Arab nation. Ishmael was Abraham's first son that he got with Hagar, the Arab nation, right? Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
So you hear what the Bible say about him? That Ishmael going to be a wild man. He going to be against every man, and every man going to be against him. Do y'all see these Ishmaelites? These people putting stuff on them and running into building and exploding building? Because the Bible already prophesied that these people are going to be wild people. These people live in desert land. They live under the ground, under the ground. This man, this people, his descendants, going to be wild people. He's going to be against every man, and every man going to be against him. Go ahead.
And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God, seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beer Laharai. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 old, when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.
So you were 86 old. That's 86 years old when he got Ishmael, right? So that's, again, Ishmael is the father of the Arab nation. Go to Genesis 16, Genesis 17. We're going to read 1 to 11 and then from 17 to 27. When you get it, I'm ready when you're ready.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee.
So Abraham means father of many nations. That's what Abraham means. Abraham means father, and Abraham means many nations, father of many nations. Go ahead.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and thy generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in the generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of covenant betwixt me and you. And then Abram fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarai that is 90 years old bear? And Abram said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
So Abraham had Ishmael, and God told Abraham that, hey, your son, your wife Sarah is going to bear a child, and I'm going to establish my covenant with him. So Abraham laughed and said, man, I'm already old. Sarah is already old. Why don't you just deal with Ishmael? God said, no, I'm going to give you a child from your wife Sarah, and I'm going to establish my covenant with him, which is Isaac. So God did not give Ishmael the covenant. So these Arab nation, in their book, in their Quran, it says that Ishmael was the one that got the covenant. That's what they have in their book. But no, the Bible says Isaac is the one that got the covenant. Go ahead.
And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abram took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abram's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day as God had said unto him.
So that's
And
why
Abram,
the Palestinian, the Arab nation, that's why they circumcise their children also. That's why they get circumcised because of this. Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and all his maid, his servants, and he circumcised all of them. So that's why they carry the circumcision also. Right? Go ahead.
and Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the selfsame day was Abram circumcised, and Ishmael's his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with the money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
So Abraham was circumcised at the age of 86. And Ishmael was circumcised at the age of 13. So again, that's why the Muslim people, that's why they hold to the circumcision. They circumcise their children because of this Ishmael. Because remember, Ishmael is the progenitor of the Arab nation, right? They claim to be Abrahamic, but remember, God did not give Ishmael the covenant, which the land over there. So that's one of the reasons why the Palestinian, those Arab, that's why they think that they have dibs to the land. That's why they're fighting over the land. Because they believe, because the Quran, they believe in the Quran telling them that Ishmael is the one that got the covenant. So they believe that that land is theirs also. They believe they have rights to that land. But remember, God did not give them the land. He gave them their land, which is Arabia. That's why they call it Arabs. He gave them their land. So Jerusalem can't be theirs. They already got theirs. So how they want to get theirs and they want to come and take their brother's land, which is Isaac's land. They can't do that. Go back to Arabia. Where, that's your place over there. Everybody fighting for something that don't belongs to them. The Israelis fighting over that land, they come from Europe, but they down in Israel fighting over that land. The Palestinian them, they come from Arabia, but they down in Israel fighting over that land. And the people whose land it belongs to, some of them don't even know that's their land. They're siding on either one of their sides. They don't even know that they're fighting over their land. So it's just like somebody come and put you out of your house and then the neighbor fighting and you outside cheering on either one of them. But that's your house that they put you out of. You're living on the outside cheering them. Let's go to chapter 25, Genesis 25. Genesis 25, we're going to read from 12 to 16. When you get it, I'm ready when you're ready.
Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abram's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. All these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, and Abdeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, and Haphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and their castles, 12 princes according to their nations.
And Kedar, remember in the book of Isaiah when it said, look at the land or the place of Kedar. You know, it said, has a nation changed the gods who are yet no gods? So the gods that they serve, which is this Allah, the Bible is telling you that is not a god. But look how these people worship their God. They pray 5 times a day. Look how these people worship their God. And their God is a false God. It's not real. But he said, you, Israel, you have a real, the true and living God. You have no respect for that God. You don't want to serve that God. But look at these people that serve false gods. Look how dedicated they are to their false gods. Let's go to Genesis 21. Let's go back to Genesis 21. We're going to read from 1 to 17. When you're ready, go ahead.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord said unto Sarah as he had spoken. But Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God had made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac.
So Sarah saw the little boy mocking her with her son Isaac. So Sarah got beside herself. Sarah said, "You know what? You need to get this boy and his mother out of here because he is not going to be heir outside of my son, and it can't be anyway. Not because he's the first, but remember, Sarah is his wife. That's his first wife. Hagar is his bond wife that she came after. So that's just like a concubine. So the concubine's son can't get the heir before the real son, his wife's son, even though he was the firstborn. Go ahead, sis.
And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Because Sarah is your wife. Listen to her, right? Go ahead.
And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed. and wandered into the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in a bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, Let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him, and lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is.
And God, because God preserved that Hagar and a son, because he was the descendant of Abraham, right? And God didn't have nothing in that union. It was between Abraham and his wife, Sarah. She's the one that told her husband to go with that woman. That didn't have nothing to do with God. So that's why God even tell him to listen to your wife. The child that I'm going to give your wife, that's going to be the heir. Because this thing what y'all did, this union that you made, you and your wife, I had nothing to do with that. So now look what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to put him out. You have to put him out, him and his mother. That's the choice that you made. 25, 1-7. Genesis 25, verse 1 to verse 7. When you're ready, I'm ready.
Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua.
So this
And
was after the death of Sarah. After the death of Sarah, the Abraham got another wife, right? Go ahead.
And Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leomin. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country.
So
And these,
even though he had all these other sons, remember Isaac was the one that got the covenant. Go ahead.
and these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 160 and 15 years.
160 and 15 years. So that's 160, 75 years, 175 years. Abraham lived before he passed away. Jump down to verse 19. When you're ready, I'm ready.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because he was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
So when she got pregnant, the Lord allowed her to get pregnant because remember, she was almost like her mother-in-law, Sarah, right? But what happened? Isaac didn't do what his father did, Abraham. He went and prayed to God, and God opened up his wife's womb, and she got pregnant. So she was feeling uncomfortable. She didn't know she had twin. She was feeling uncomfortable from the pregnancy. So she said, if God allowed me to get pregnant, why am I feeling like this? Why is this pregnancy so uncomfortable? And then when she gave birth, she realized that she had twins. You know what I mean? God told her you got two manner of people that is living in you. That's why the pregnancy is so uncomfortable. Of course, it's going to be two manner of people. That's two different two children. Give me two child. That's two children. Of course, they're different. They're different being. So Esau going to get his people, and Jacob is going to get his people. Just like Ishmael. Ishmael and Isaac, the both of them came from even Abraham, but they're different people. Nevertheless, Esau and Jacob is still her children. Go ahead, sis.
And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
So y'all really think that 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 Esau believed that Jacob actually supplanted him out of his birthright? I'm pretty sure he didn't. He didn't think that his brother was going to do something. He just said, "Man, what good is this birthright if I'm dead because I'm hungry? Give me some of that food that you're making." So he said, "Hey, give me your birthright. Sell me your birthright." So if he said, "Go, shoot, you can take it. I'm hungry. What good will it be to me if I'm dead?" He didn't expect him to actually take his birthright because if he did, he wouldn't have gone pleading to his father. If he actually did. Let's go to Genesis 27. When he went to the father, he told his father, I came for my blessing. He said, hey, I already gave it away. When you ready, go ahead, sis.
And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory soup, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother
So
said unto him,
Jacob name actually means deceiver, no, a supplanter. That's what Jacob means. That's why one of the reasons why God even changed his name from Jacob to Israel, because Jacob means a deceiver or a supplanter, because he deceived his brother. So his name was befitting what he did, right? So the mother heard the father, her husband, telling the son, go and get me some venison. Venison is deer, deer. So he said Esau was a hunter, and Jacob was a man in the garden, just like Cain and Abel, right? One dealt with vegetables and plants, and one dealt with livestock, meat, right? So he tell him, go get me some venison and prepare it so I can bless you before I die, because I'm old, and I don't know when the Lord is going to take my spirit away from me. So the mother heard and told Jacob, man, hey, go get one of them kid out there before Esau come back, so I can fix it for you, so you can take it for your father. Because I heard he told your brother to do that so he can bless him. So the angel already told Rebekah who is the one that will get the blessing. The angel already told her that. Right? Go ahead.
And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he came unto his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come here, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not.
So he said,
And Jacob answered,
come let me feel you to see if you are Esau or not, because he know them by their skin, because Esau was hairy, Jacob was not hairy. So he said, come near, let me feel you to see if you are my very son Esau or not. Go ahead.
and Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God gave thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of Jacob and Jacob, blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone.
Your voice gone, your voice gone, your voice gone, your voice gone, your voice gone. Stop. Yeah, you gone. Your voice gone. It sound like a computer. Did you move? Yeah, it's still the same. Did you move something? Yeah, your voice went out. Remember the last time what happened? That's how it's done. No, it's still gone. Yeah, I don't know if you want to jump out and jump back in. It's still doing the same thing. Still doing the same thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What you
How's
did?
that?
Yeah, what you did?
I just touched the screen. I didn't do nothing really.
Oh, okay.
So is that
Yeah,
better?
yeah, that's better.
All right, continue on 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who, where is he that had taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed.
So Isaac, he smelt Jacob, and Jacob smelled like Esau because you remember the mama tell him go and get the skin because he was not hairy. So of course the mom probably put some of that goat hair on on Jacob and wipe the animal's flesh all over him so he can smell like Esau, because you know when Esau out there hunting, he smell like them animals because that's what he does, you know. So Isaac said, man, you smell like Esau, my son, but your voice, you smell like Esau, your hand feel like his hand, your arms feel like his arms, but your voice, it don't sound like his. So that's why he was saying, that's why he told him to come so I can feel you, so you can feel if you felt like my son. He said, man, you do smell like him, you know. But we see that Jacob was the one that actually end up with the blessing. And we saw that the sister read that he said, he who bless you will be blessed, and he who curse you will be cursed. So we have pastors out here that they'll be saying, he who bless Israel will be blessed, and he who curse Israel will be cursed. But they don't, I don't know, do they realize that they're blessing the wrong people? Because they're sending the money to Israel, thinking that if they bless Israel, they will be blessed. But that's not the true Israel. The true Israel is the one that they are oppressing. The true Israel is the one that they got their foot in their necks. That's the true Israel. The so-called Negroes. We are the Israelites. So you're cursing us. So, and God said, ye who curse Israel will be cursed. So that's why the Bible tells you all who oppress Israel will be oppressed when Christ returns. And them who leads you into captivity, they will go into captivity. And that's why the Bible even tell you that those people, they further the affliction. So now they're going to have to pay for the affliction that they put on Israel because they further the affliction. God told them to rule over them, but they gone castrating them. They gone cutting the babies out of the mother's womb. They gone feeding the children to alligator. They gone hanging them in trees. So because they further the affliction, because it seems like these people, they're like vampires. They get a kick and get a high out of these kind of atrocities. That's what makes them high. So the Bible said because they did this, they furthered the affliction, now I'm going to have to exact vengeance on them for they furthering the afflictions. I told you to rule over my people. I didn't tell you to castrate them. I didn't tell you to hang them in trees. I didn't tell you to feed them to alligators. I didn't tell you to do that. Now you're going to have to pay. Going to continue from 34.
And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came on subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And
So
Esau said,
Jacob and Esau is saying, man, he tricked me these 2 times. You know, he took away my birthright, and now he took away my blessing. So I don't think that Esau actually knew that this was serious. Because number one, that's his brother. That's my brother. I don't think my brother, I wouldn't think that my brother is going to steal my birthright or take in my blessing, in trickery and got my blessing. Because if I did, why would I go to my dad and say, okay, now dad, I'm here, bless me? Why would I do that if I knew that I gave it away or is that mine? So I don't think Esau actually knew the seriousness of what he did. When the Bible says Esau despised his birthright, he didn't know the seriousness of it. Go ahead, sis.
What number am I on? Was it 40?
38.
And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessed my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven and from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning of my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So you see
And
what happened now because of that? Esau said, when my father die, I'm going to slay my brother for what he did. He said, my days of my father's mourning are at hand. But when my father die, I'm going to slay him. Go ahead.
And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee thou to Laban my brother into Haran, and tarry with him for a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until my brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forgot that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me?
So she didn't want Jacob to take a wife from there. So he said, Go to my father's, go to my country where my brother, my people is, and get a wife from there. So she is saying that and it gotta be the angel that told her what Esau said, that when the father died, he's going to kill him. Because if it's something that I'm saying, how did Rebecca hear that? The angel told her, and then she tell Jacob, listen, man, your brother said in his heart. How she know what is in his heart? Your brother said in his heart that when his father died, he's gonna unalive you. So go to my father's country. Why should I be deprived of my two sons in one day? Meaning Esau he's gonna be condemned for what he did, and then Jacob will be unalive, so she's gonna lose her two sons at the same time. Go to my people and get your wife from down there. I don't want you getting a wife from over here, from the children of Heth in the first place. Let's go to Genesis 29. Genesis 29. I'm going to read from 1 to 15. When you're ready, go ahead.
And then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled a stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto him, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot, until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Laban kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban said, and Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the
So you
love
see,
he had to her.
so you see what's going on? So Laban already knew that he was not going to give Isaac that Jacob that daughter, right? Because the custom of these people, the older daughter have to go first. The older one have to go first. So you made this man work for 7 years under the pretense that you're going to give him the younger daughter when you know in your heart that that's not your intention. You're not going to do that. Go ahead. That
And
was
Jacob
it?
said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this? What is this hast thou done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn.
You hear that?
Fulfill her week.
So you hear what he said? It is this thing should not be done in our country that the younger one go before the older one. Otherwise, people just come start marrying the younger one, and next thing you know, the old one before you know it, she'll be an old woman in her parents' house. She's not leaving because nobody is choosing her, right? So he's saying, look what happened. He supplanted his brother out of his birthright, and now he is getting the same reward that he gave. So he tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright and then out of his blessings, right? Then he gone to know his mother's family, and then look what happened. He got tricked also, just like how he tricked his brother. So you see how this thing does work? So Laban even was wrong because he knew that he should not have done that. That is trickery, right? But check this out. You know, the Bible, one of the law is against drunkenness, right? That's a sin. A drunkard is a sin. So what happened to Jacob? He got drunk. He got drunk. So because he was drunk, he didn't even know who he went and slept with that night because he was drunk. They had a party, he got drunk, and he slept with the wrong female. That's why the Bible warns us against being a drunkard. So he sinned against God, and God got him for it. Go ahead, sis.
Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so and fulfilled a week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and
Mm,
served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, Surely the Lord had looked upon my affliction now before thy husband, therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, Now this time will my husband join unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah.
So you see what's happening, family? Look at what's happening. So because he did wrong, meaning he got drunk and slept with the wrong sister, the wrong daughter of Laban, now he despised her. He's the one that slept with her now because he got drunk. Now he despised her, Leah, because he really wanted Rachel. So because now God see that he hated, he don't like Leah, God barren Rachel and open up Leah's womb. So Leah making all the children while Rachel is barren because God saw that the hatred that he had towards Leah when it's his fault for being drunk. Go ahead, sis. You finished?
That was it.
Man. If you wasn't drunk, you would have been all right. Let's go to the next chapter, 30. When you get it, I'm ready.
And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, Am I in God's stead? Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb?
He said, Am I
And she said,
God? I didn't make you barren. I'm not God. So why are you telling me this? Go ahead.
And she said, Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she will bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her.
So you see
And
what she did? She did the same thing that Abraham and Sarah did. Because she couldn't make none, she telling him to go in with her handmaid. The same thing that his grandfather did. The same thing his grandfather and his grandmother did. Go ahead.
And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife, and Jacob went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God had judged me, and had also heard my voice, and had given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left barren, she took Zilpah her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, A troop cometh. And she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found the mandrakes in the field, and brought them in unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her,
Jump down to 17. Jump to the 17.
And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him six sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter. She called her name Dinah. And God
Jump down to
remembered
35.
to it.
Jump down to 35.
And he removed that day the he goats that were ring straight and spotted, in all the she goats that were speckled with and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he
Good.
sent 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks.
So, because you see how this thing is like a domino effect. So Jacob got drunk, slept with the wrong woman. So now he had to work 7 more years to get the woman that he actually needed. He despised the one that he slept with first, even though it was his fault for being drunk. He despised her, so God now barren the one that he wanted, that he loved. Barren her, while the one that he despised was getting children. Now, because Laban now, he tricked Jacob into that. Now God is blessing Jacob against Laban, because Laban also tricked Jacob. So you see this there was a big tangle up going on, because you're going to get chastised for deceiving people. Just like these pastors out here in these churches who was deceiving the mass of the people. Don't think that you're going to get away. Don't think that you're not going to be chastised for deceiving the mass. You are going to be punished. So now, God favored Jacob now with these sheeps, because Jacob is working for Laban and Laban is tricking Jacob. You know what I mean? He's tricking him. So God is laying favors on top of Jacob with his flocks because of what Laban was doing. It's one big mess. Let's go to Genesis 35. And we're going to read from verse 9 to verse 13. And you ready? I'm ready.
And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him.
So God told Jacob, the land that I gave to Abraham, Isaac, your forefather, I am going to give that land to you and your seed after you. Right? So the children of Israel is the one who inherited that land. Right? Nobody after them. They're the one that inherited that land. So they are not in the land right now. They got removed from the land. That's why when the sister was reading in the Deuteronomy 28, it say, and they will be removed from the land or plucked off the land, and they would be scattered into the four corners of the earth. They didn't migrate. Some of them had to flee for their lives, because when these nations, when General Titus went into the land in 70 AD, they burned Jerusalem down to the ground. They went with the starvation tactics to starve them out. The people them in there was actually eating the children because they didn't have no food and they couldn't come out and no food could have gone in. Because what Titus did, they built a wall around Jerusalem, a wall. So that wall they call the Wailing Wall that these people has be, where they say it's part of the temple, that's not part of the temple. That Wailing Wall is not part of the temple, because the Bible tell you that there will be not one stone left upon another that will not be thrown down. So the temple, all of its stone fell, because that's what this prophecy. Not one stone will be left upon another that will not be thrown down. So that Wailing Wall is not part of the temple. That might be part of the wall that they built around Jerusalem to encamp them so they can't get out. So when that happened, they had no food coming in, and the food that was inside there ran out. So now they start eating the children. So the women then were hiding the children from the men, because they was killing the children and eating them. And why did this happen? Disobedience. Disobedience. And you think that this made us learn? No, we are still being disobedient against God's laws. And not only that, we have people in the church that is telling you, teaching you that you don't have to keep God's laws. Why you think we're in this predicament in the first place? Is for not keeping his laws. So if we're in this situation for not keeping his laws, why are you still teaching people that we're not supposed to keep the laws? What craziness is this? Let's go to Genesis 37. And we're going to read from 3 to 18 and 21 to 36. When you get it, sis, I'm ready when you're ready.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood about round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his
So because he was a dreamer, and he is actually prophesying. That's what he's doing. He's dreaming vision. He's having visions of things that will come to pass. So one of his dream, they end up asking him, so what you're saying, that you're gonna rule over us? Actually, that happened. It happened. Go ahead.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this mean? What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
You hear
And his
that?
brethren
So
answered
who is the
him,
sun? He said the sun and the moon and the seven stars gave obeisance to him. So who is the sun? His father. Who is the moon? His mother. Who is the seven stars? That's this. Who is the 11 stars? That's his 11 brothers. He was the 12th. So he's saying all of them is going to pay obeisance to him. So the father, when he told his father the dream, his father rebuked him. So what's madness you're dreaming? So you telling me that me and your mother and your brothers is going to bow down to you? But they didn't know that this thing is actually coming in the future. They don't know that it was coming in the future. Go ahead.
and his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him.
Mm,
And Reuben
mm,
heard it,
mm.
and he delivered him out of his hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto him, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery, and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
So this was this Arab nation because Ishmael, the descendants of Ishmael, they are the Ishmaelite. And these people was called Moors because they're traders, meaning they go to different places and trade with them. So they was going down to Egypt to trade spices and balms and myrrh, incense, because that's what they do. That's why these Ishmaelites, they will be able to travel the world. That was not for the Shemites. That was not for the Israelite. They didn't. They was mostly in captivity. The most of their existence, they were in captivity. So the brothers them say, well, let us take him out of the hole and sell him to these traders because they're going down to Egypt. Let us sell him to him. This is their brother. This is their brother. Go ahead, see what they did.
And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed the kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
So these sons, his brother, Joseph's brothers, what they did was evil because they sold their brother into slavery. They sold their brother to Ishmaelite, Midianites, that was going down into Egypt. And they have the audacity to stand there trying to comfort the father when the father start grieving about his son because they told his father, they told the father that, that an animal, a wild animal, probably devoured him. They bring his coat and give it to the father. They put blood on it, like is Joseph blood, and they comforted the father, knowing what they did. So the scripture teaches us that when man do evil, God just find the good out of it. So now what happened to Joseph was supposed to happen. But nevertheless, the brothers them were evil. It's just like Christ. What happened to Christ being sold out to be crucified was supposed to happen. But nevertheless, the person that did it, Judas, was evil for doing it. He was evil for doing it. But yet it was supposed to happen. Just like Joseph. The brother them was evil for selling their brother. But God pulled the good out of it, because if Joseph was not in Egypt, when that famine came, they would have not survived. So Joseph was placed in Egypt for that purpose, to save them from that famine. So the brothers them used it for evil, and God used it for good. So the prophets are Israel. The Negroes are Israel. The so-called African Americans, they are all Israel. The West Indians. Because when the boat was coming across, they was dropping cargoes, which was livestock, which was the Israelite that they took from the continent of Africa and brought across those seas and dropped them off in these different countries. Israel was scattered in the four corners of the earth. This only happened to Israel. It did not happen to no other nation. That's why the Bible tell you in the book of, even in the book of Daniel, what happened to Israel, no other nation can claim it. No other nation. What happened to us? And look how resilient we are as a people. You will think that the things that Israel, we, the real Israelite, the things that we go through, we will be the one unaliving ourselves. But look how resilient we are. And we are strong people. Let's go to the book of Romans. The only New Testament scripture we have in the lesson. Romans chapter 11. We're going to read from 1 to 5, 7, and 11 to 25. And after this, family, we have one more. When you're ready, sis, I am ready. Romans chapter 11.
I say then, had God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God had not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye not what the scripture saith of Elias? How he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets, and digged down thine altars, and I left alone, and they seek my life. But what said the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then at this present time also there is a remnant according to this election of grace.
But even so, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So this is Paul. Paul is saying, have God cast away his people, which he foreknew? It says, God forbid. But we have some sects out there who is saying that God cast away or did away with Israel, like the Jehovah Witnesses. They say that because remember, in the Jehovah Witness teaching, they teach that they are the ones who is going to go to heaven. The big man, the one them the leaders, they're going to go to heaven. The governing body, they're the one who's going to go to heaven. So even though the Bible tell you that no one is going to heaven, not only that, they claim that they will be the 144, the governing body of the Jehovah's Witness will be the 144. But in the book of Revelation, it says the governing body or the 144, the 144,000 is the physical descendants of Israel, physical descendants. But yet the Jehovah's Witness claim that the governing body of the Jehovah's Witness organization is the 144. So that's the reason why they teach that God did away with his people. Because if he did away with his people, then they can't be of the 144,000 because God did away with them. Replacement theology. God replaced the Israelites with the other nations. But that's not in the Bible. Paul is saying, has God cast away his people which he foreknew? It says, God forbid. So that means he did not cast them away. What he did, he just blinded them for a period of time. And he said, Israel is blind in part until the full number of Gentiles come in. But aren't you seeing Israel waking up? Israel is waking up now. So Israel is blind in part. Paul also said he is from the tribe of Benjamin. You know who is this? This is not a Gentile. This is an Israelite. That's from one of the tribe. Go ahead, sis.
What then Israel had celebrated? What then Israel had obtained, that which he seeketh for? But the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
You see that?
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke thee to emulation them which are my flesh, and might have saved some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be, but life from the dead?
Mm-hmm.
For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
So Paul is telling those Gentiles, some of the branches, which is the Israelites, were broken off because of unbelief. And because they were broken off, then you got a chance now to come in, right? But he said, remember, you are not the root. You don't bear the tree. The tree bears you, right? Who is the root? Christ is the root. So don't come boasting against the branches that was broken off. Because if Christ can break them off, be careful because you also will be kicked out or broke off. Because if he can break off his own, what do you think he's going to do to you? So don't come in boasting. Right? Go ahead.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fell, severity, but toward thee, goodness. If thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off.
If you
And they
continue in his
also,
goodness, you will be all right. But if you don't continue in his goodness, you also will be cut off. Why would they cut off? For unbelief, disobedience, not keeping his laws. So if you come in and not keeping his laws, what's going to happen to you? You also will be kicked out. You also will be cut off. Because if you're going to serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you got to keep the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob laws. There's one law for the whole church, one law for the church, one law for the body. Half of the body can't be serving God and the other half serving pagan gods or serving Satan. No, the whole body have to do the same thing, keep the same laws. Go ahead.
and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. For if they were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be their natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
So you hear what the sister just read, family? For if thou, meaning Gentiles, was cut out of a olive tree, a wild olive tree, and was grafted in that is contrary to nature into a good olive tree. So he's saying you were outside. You Gentiles was outside of the covenant of God because he did not give it to the Gentiles. So if God was able to bring you in, how much more if the children of Israel shall turn from the evil ways and come back, he will be able to graft them back in because that is their tree. That's where they came from. They came from that tree. So he's telling you, don't be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceit, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, to all the Israelites. Blindness in part have happened to us until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Then we're going to start waking up. How we're blind? So we have to stay out of the way so the Gentiles will be able to come in. Otherwise, Israel will hinder them from coming in. That's why blindness in part is happening to them. But don't be boastful and high-minded. Because if God can kick out his own people, he will kick you out also. But you cannot come in doing your pagan rituals that you were doing when you was outside of God. Why would God allow you, who was doing pagan rituals, serving your pagan God, to come into his ministry or into his fold, still serving your pagan God? No, you have to let all these customs outside. You can't bring them in the church. You have to leave them outside. Let's go to the last verse, Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31. And we're going to read from 35 to 40. And you get it, sis? I'm ready when you're ready.
Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divided the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, said the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
So
Thus said
listen
the
here,
Lord.
family. Hold on, this is listen, this family. It says, thus says the Lord will give it the sun for a light by the day, and the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night, which delivereth the sea when the waves thereof roar, and the Lord of hosts is his name. So God is saying, the scriptures is saying, the sun, it have its ordinances, it shines, it give light on the earth in the daytime. The moon gives light on the day, the moon and the stars at the night. The sea have its ordinances that it will not pass its boundaries. God said, as long as these elements is there, Israel will not depart from him. So to these churches who are saying that God is rid of Israel, read Jeremiah 31 from 35 to verse 40. God, and we just read Romans. Has God cast away his people? God forbid. So how can these churches teach that God got rid of Israel when the book says he forbids? As long as the sun is in the sky, the moon is in the sky, the stars is in the sky, the sea is where is that? God cannot get rid of Israel. That's what he says. That's what the book says. So why is the churches them teaching this? That is replacement theology. That is not of the Bible. That is man's doctrine. Go ahead, sis.
If those ordinances depart from before me, said the Lord, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus said the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundation of the earth searched out beneath, I will cast off all the seed of Israel, for all they have done, said the Lord. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that the city shall be built by the Lord from the tower of Hananiel unto the gate of the corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it before upon the hill Gareb, and shall compass about to Goth, and the whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes in all the fields unto the brook of Kidron, unto the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy unto the Lord. It shall be plucked up. It shall not be plucked up, nor thrown down any more forever.
So God is going to return to gather his people Israel, the one that are scattered through the four corners of the earth. The people who are in Jerusalem, Israel, present day, they are not God's people. They are not the people of the land. They are not the people that the book is talking about, that is the inhabitants of that land. They are Khazarians, they are Zionists, they are squatters, they are people that stole the identity of the original people of that land, the original ancestors of the people of that land. But it's okay. Why? Because the Bible tells us that Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles until Christ returns. So they are supposed to be there. They're supposed to be there because the Bible prophesied against them that they have to be there. Why they're there? To do God's work, to bring in the end time prophecy. That's why they're there. Why we are not there? Because it was prophesied against Israel, the true people of the land, that they will be cast out and scattered into the four corners of the earth. It is prophesied against them. So that's why the true Israelite is not there in their home. Where are they? In the four corners of the earth, where they were scattered. That's the truth about this book. That's the light of this book. That's the mystery of this book. This lesson, Black History, according to the Bible, genealogy. And we only brought the genealogy of the prominent people, the prominent peoples, the prominent nations, who is in this thing to the end times. Israel, this message is for you. Wake up. Get out of the world. Start serving God. Come back to your Creator. If you don't know who you are, where you come from, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what your purpose is. We have a lot of Israelites who's running around calling themselves Gentiles. Why? Because they were blinded by their churches, who is telling them that they are Gentiles, because they want to perpetuate this ongoing lie that the people that is in the land are the true people of the land, when they are not the true people of the land. The first form of identity theft. That's where identity theft came from. That's crazy. Well, family, we thank you very much for enduring with us. It was kind of lengthy, but this is Black History, and it's going on for the whole month of February. So we have to get as much as we can to wake up the mass of the people, because our people needs to wake up. This history that they was giving us while we was going to school, that is not our history. That is their history. That's not our history. Because the history that they gave us was tainted history. It's not our true history. That's why we're still running around, don't know who we are. If they was giving us our true history from elementary school into middle school into high school, we would have known who we were. Israel would have known who we were. But because they've been lying to us and giving us a tainted history, that's why the mass of us still don't know that we are the children of Israel. That's why we still don't know who we are. Because the history they've been giving us, that is their history, that's not ours. You have something to say, sis?
No.
I know you're tired. He said, man, all this reading, this man still want me to talk about, say something. This is crazy. On this side of the flood. Well, family, look out for part 2. Next week, if God's willing. So, sis, you can close me out.
All right. I want to thank you guys for joining us today on this Lord's Sabbath and today's lesson. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post or go live. We encourage your comments and feedbacks so that we can engage and come to know God's word and follow them. Our mission is to plant a seed, share God's word that will bring servants to God. Please remember to keep your comments respectful. We also invite you to join us on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bible study question and answer. If you have a question about something you've heard or you've read and don't understand, or something someone has said and you may not have understand, we would love to have you join us via Zoom by phone at 786-635-1003, 646-518-9805, or 646-558-8656. The meeting ID number is 407-493-1344. The password is 54321. Israel the Lord's Vineyard's phone number is 407-493-1344. We want to thank you again for joining us today. We love you, and if it's God will, we'll see you again next week for part 2. Have a blessed Sabbath.
Yes, sister, brothers and sisters, and part 2 next week will be about color. Black history according to the Bible, color. All right? So, let's we close out. Our Father who art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debt.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Forever in Jesus' name, amen.
May the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our redeemer. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, the hearing, and the doing of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Family, we hope that this lesson was a blessing to the hearers. Please, family, pick up your Bible, dust it off, open it, Read it and adhere to it, family. Follow it. Don't just be a reader. Don't just be a hearer. God said we need to be doers of his word. Doers, family, not just hearers. And get into your history. Learn where you come from. You got to go beyond the shores of America when those boats drop you over here. Where did we come from prior to the shores of America? We have to know that, because if you only know yourself just on or after the shores of America, then you still don't know who you are. You're still lost. You're still lost. Because now you're calling yourself Jamaicans, Crucian, Antiguans. You're not those people. Who are you prior to you coming over here? Then you call yourself Africans. That's because they gave us these titles, African American. How can you be two people at the same time? African American, for real? Every nation, family, every other nation knows who they are. They know where they're from. If you ask an African person where they're from, they can tell you what country they're from in Africa. They can tell you what village. They can tell you what tribe they're from. Why is it that we, the so-called Negroes, the so-called African American, why are we the only people or the only nation in the world that don't know where we're from, that don't know our identity, where we're from, who we are? Why is that? That's because we are the people of the book, family. And the Bible tells us that we will lose our heritage. God will cause us to lose our heritage, cause us to lose our name, our God, and we're going to serve wood and stone. Why? Because we refuse to serve him. We refuse to serve him. So if we refuse to serve him, you know what he's going to do? He's going to let us serve our enemies. That's the way it is, family. And where Israel is under this curse. One time I was talking to a guy, and something came up, and we were saying, I said, the reason why, man, is because we're under this curse. You know what he tell me? Well, you might be under a curse, but I'm not under a curse. I said, my brother, you can say what you want. The reason why we are here in someone else's land is because we're under that curse. Because this is not our home. We're in our enemy's home. We were transported here. Our ancestors were transported here on slave ship, like cargo in the bottoms of ships. So you can claim that you're not under this curse all you want. You don't even know your name. We're wearing our slave masters' names, our titles. They're slave masters' titles. But you claim that you're not in slavery, you're not cursed. You are cursed. We are cursed. And that curse is not going to be lifted until our Messiah, our Savior, returns. It's not going to be lifted. The only thing he's going to do for us, the Bible states, if we start keeping his laws, his statutes, his commandments, he's going to cause our enemies to be at ease with us. That's all he's going to do for us. Cause our enemies to be at ease with us. You refuse to keep his laws, his statutes, his commandments, the enemies is going to bring judgment upon us. So as long as we are still in our enemy's land, we are still under the curse. We're still under the curse. Our curse will be lifted when we return to our home. I hope this was a blessing to the hearers. We'll see you on the next one, part 2, color. You take it easy, family, and have a blessed rest of the Sabbath.